everybody. I guess the best thing for me to do first is to introduce myself. I'm Tommy Lee Wallace. I wrote and directed this movie that we're watching together. I think without trying to provide a commentary to the picture right here at the beginning, I'll just tell you a little about the history of the project. Most of you who are watching this probably are here because you're interested in movies that John Carpenter is connected to, or movies that Jon Bon Jovi are connected to. Those two very disparate elements are joined in this picture through me and my connection to both of those gentlemen. John Carpenter and his wife Sandy King made a movie called Vampires, John Carpenter's Vampires, a couple of years ago, and it was a success. And so they called me up when talk began about doing something in the way of a sequel or a follow-up. Nobody wants to call their movie a sequel, and this was no exception.
It's $50 straight up. You want more?
So John and Sandy called me on this project, and we talked about what concept was going to work. There were leftover characters from the other movie, and we went back and forth between the three of us, plus the studio, about were there going to be any survivors. And in the end, we decided no, this was going to be a fresh start.
You just move away. Nice.
But the concept of vampire hunters, and the idea that vampire hunting is dirty stuff. It's hard to do. It's not a glamorous profession. These creatures smell bad, and they, this is a workaday kind of lunch bucket thing to be doing, and it's incredibly dangerous. All of these ideas were the things that we wanted to bring forward, along with my own personal passion about what John had created, which was a kind of a subgenre, I think, the vampire western. I was just absolutely mad about that idea and wanted to continue that. The notion that in the last movie, when last we saw this bunch of vampire hunters and slayers, they had headed south, which to me means Mexico. The chance to pick up the thread of this idea and encounter some new vampire hunters who have to go off to Mexico to take care of what amounts to an infestation problem in vampire lore, just attracted me immediately. And so I set out to write this wonderful vampire western. I guess the big difference in script approaches was that John's hero, the James Woods character, really knew his stuff, was really on top of his game, was the meanest and the toughest in the whole wide world. And I was more attracted to the sort of unlikely heroes concept, which says that the person who gets selected for this mission is not powerful enough to pull this off, needs lots of help, is the likelihood of failure is high, the odds are against him. These kinds of movies, whether they're westerns or whether they're army pictures, war pictures, appeal to me so much. The collection of a group, the Dirty Dozen, the Guns of Navarone, the Magnificent Seven, these are some of my favorite pictures. And the idea is, and I guess it came together in a movie that John and I wrote several years ago, a Western that John was supposed to direct called El Diablo, which wound up on HBO. Same concept, an unlikely hero. In the case of El Diablo, it was a school teacher whose sister is kidnapped, and he's got to go right off into a world that he's not quite qualified for. And in this case, my hero, played by Jon Bon Jovi, Derek Bliss, has to ride off and take care of business that is, it's a slot or two above his usual. He is a sort of garden variety vampire killer. He makes his living much the way a dog catcher would. It's easy, it's not terribly complicated. He pays the rent, although kind of a scuzzy place he was living in back there. But, he gets the job done, and he likes it that way. A few comments to catch up per picture. Backing up for a minute, the blinking light at the beginning, the caution light. I wanted to shoot a border crossing, and we simply didn't have the money. And I don't know which of us in the cutting room came up with the graphics. It might have been me, but I'm an old graphic designer. That's how I got my training. And the idea of just a big round yellow circle flashing on and off, it says caution to all of us. And running the Welcome to Mexico in both languages, it says border crossing in some abstract way. Don't know if it comes across to the viewer that way, but I think it's it's a nice solution to a problem where there's no more money, but I want to do something here to signal a beginning. And in the end, I was quite pleased with that. What followed was very funny. The video sequence that introduces the movie, of course, it's supposed to be Derek's point of view as he enters the border town. He's scouting, he's looking around for his prey, or perhaps he's taking notes for some future hunting expedition down into the border town. In any event, this too was something that was supposed to be, an incredible rhapsody of expensive night photography, and in the end we didn't have money to shoot it that way, so one wild weekend, the editor and I went down with a video camera, went to Tijuana, and with my daughter, as a matter of fact, she saved our bacon on a couple of occasions, otherwise we would have been arrested, and shot this footage, which I think got the job done. Again, sometimes necessity is the mother of invention. I'd like to talk just for a second about the tone and the nature of the violence and the special effects in general, and my personal approach, my philosophy about it. It owes a lot to my beginnings with John Carpenter. I helped a little bit on John's first picture, which was Dark Star, a science fiction comedy. John's real passion leans, I think, toward scary movies. He has a real streak of that in him, and a dark streak that he likes to explore. And so not too long after that first one came a movie called Assault on Precinct 13, which was followed by Halloween. And I started out being the art director who needed to be in the cutting room. I wasn't accustomed to leaving a picture after you shot. I wanted to follow it into the cutting room, so I just said, John, give me something to do. And on Assault on Precinct 13, he asked me if I'd cut the sound effects. And that led to an editing gig, so by the time Halloween rolled around, I was doing both jobs, art directing, production design, and editing, which I don't recommend. You forget about sleep altogether. But anyway, my point is that I cut my teeth on John's approach to scary movie making, and inevitably that meant low-budget movie making. And what we learned, partly by John's great instincts and partly by necessity, was that generally less is more, that you cannot necessarily scare an audience just because you spend a lot of money on special effects. You'd better be working your tension and your sense of expectation and your surprises and your light and shadow and your suspense tricks. Those all better be working and be lined up. And that isn't something that requires a great deal of money. You can judge for yourself my success in this picture as to how well I did or didn't do. There are a few places where I wish that I'd been able to do more. There are a few places where I think there is more, but there were certain creative differences between myself and the studio and you know who wins in that case. So here's our man, and he is out here looking for his team, in effect. This is first act stuff. It's all in the matter of, it's not like I've originated this whole brand new concept. This is where you collect your team. Act one, we need a plumber and a machine gun artist and an explosives expert and somebody who is, good with tightrope walking. Whatever the qualifications are, you collect your team. And the business of collecting your team should be fun and interesting and provide you some insights into your characters. And at the same time, we should be learning just what a badass the bad guy is. In this case, our bad guy turns out to be a woman, and a very seductive woman at that. And I love that angle of this thing, that she's terrible, she's dangerous, she's horrifying, but she's also beautiful, and you want to be next to her.
I know who did it.
I very much wanted to explore the notion of a vampire who moves while you're blinking your eyes. This vampire is able to move a city block or so closer to you, or away from you if necessary, if they wanted to, and can kill in the blink of an eye. I explored that later in the coffee shop. We'll get to that. Here is where the tilter of windmills and his sidekick, Sancho Panza. Pinza? Wait a minute. Who is this guy? Don Quixote and Sancho Panza. Don Quixote and Sancho Panza scene coming up right here. I love how roles start to switch here. What we have is a guy who is just above an amateur himself, but suddenly there's a kid looking at him, and the kid sees an ultimate superhero, a very cool guy, and he wants to follow him. I love how the roles switch, and how, to me, that's how you get a door into your characters. You start to want to be with these guys because you could be these guys. I don't know anything about killing vampires. And that guy on the left knows nothing, but the guy on the right, who's supposedly the expert, he doesn't know that much either. I've already found that out from the way things are set up. Something immensely compelling about that to me, to pull characters in that way. Formation of the team.
What happens in there? Don't you panic. Don't run. You got that?
Yeah. Got it. $20.
I should probably make a comment on sense of humor, which I think this movie has a great deal more of in the cutting room than wound up on the screen. I really wanted to make a movie that was free and easy, flowing back and forth between horror and a kind of joviality among a group of people. This is the sort of thing that a director like Howard Hawks was good at, and certainly a director like John Carpenter is good at. I feel like it doesn't quite get its full representation in this movie because, there were just certain conflicts of philosophy about how humor is supposed to work against horror that were never fully resolved. But I think quite a bit of it comes through. I think the idea still comes through of moments of people being very cool under pressure, being able to make little jokes, little asides that allow the audience that all-important relief so they get set up for the next big scare again. I think that's a very important part of a good, satisfying horror movie. Here's where in this church, for me, this movie is visually very satisfying, very lavish, very lush. We went to Mexico for many things. I'm not sure we brought all of them home, but we did bring home the locations, the richness of the land and its architecture and the look of these buildings, and all of this adds so much. These aren't sets. These are real places that we were allowed to shoot in. A fairly horrified Catholic priest watching us work this particular day. I'm not sure that he knew what he was getting into when we started. But of course, money does talk, especially in a poor country or a poor town, and this was a very poor little town. And the people involved in this church wanted us to be respectful and mindful of the place we were in, and we certainly tried. Oh, sorry, broke a window, but what the hell? No, with it, obviously a fake window and insert. We were really conscientious about taking care of the place. But at the end of the day, these incredible ceilings, these courtyards, that's why we went. And they seemed like they were everywhere. Everywhere we turned, there was something new to shoot. I'm still glad that we tried it on that basis. Such a rich country. I think they'll, as time goes on, the Mexican cinema will grow and flourish and show themselves off and acquit themselves. I guess I'm talking around. The truth of the matter is that we went, and it was very, very difficult with an all-Mexican crew. Very difficult to get what we went for. And from a technical basis, I would have liked to have had greater success in my stunts and in my special effects and in my art department. All of those things were very tough, a big struggle. This is an industry that's only just beginning to find its way to the international scene. But there is no questioning what a fabulous wealth of visual stuff that is lying around waiting for people to take advantage of it. Now here is a scene where what is supposed to be illustrated, and you can judge for yourself whether we succeeded, what is supposed to be illustrated is I was caught up and fascinated with the notion of a vampire being able to move in the blink of an eye. And so the drill here, after establishing that Zoe, who is, by the way, Natalie Wood's daughter, and I think in certain light you can see it in her face, just an enchanting face. After we established that she is, in fact, in some way, shape, or form, a vampire. She's got the vampire blood in her, and part of the story, of course, deals with this lovely concept. Thanks to the era of AIDS and HIV, we're able to sort of work this sub-theme about a blood infection that hasn't completely taken effect, and she's using some kind of drug cocktail to ward it off. I loved that. I loved sort of having an ally who is one of them. Technically speaking, she's got vampire blood in her. Everybody else is about normal temperature, but oh my God, look, she's cold as a corpse. Oh dear. And what a cute girl she was. What a tragedy. He's going to have to go kill her. Oh dear. So he goes off to gird his loins, as it were. And while he's getting ready, and see if this works for you, while he's getting ready, the vampire, the anti-hero, the antagonist of this piece, comes in and wreaks havoc. There are some missing scenes here, which hopefully will come, of the vampire wreaking some more havoc. Intercut here, 3 or 4 places. Hopefully we'll see those by the time we're done. I'm looking at a fairly early cut here. In any event, she makes a connection with Zoe, and she also slashes a few dozen other throats while she's at it. And my hope was that the audience goes along with this sort of in a heartbeat effect, while all in the time it takes Derek to toss that paper in the wastebasket, that all happened. Don't know whether that works or not. It's a conceit that it certainly looked good on paper, and only the audience can tell me whether that makes any sense to them. But assuming for a moment that it does work, now we know that this vampire is one badass creature, and she will mess you over just while you're trying to, look at your untied shoelace or that sort of thing. Crucial stuff for the movie to get it rolling. Now we have a really, really desperate hero who probably can't succeed until he gets some more people on his side, and we have this awful villain who can kill at the drop of a hat. This is good stuff. Assuming that's working, then, hey, a story that's spinning along and we want to know what comes next. Is it working? Only you can tell me.
Oh, what are you gonna do, just shoot me?
Yeah. You got a decent reason why I shouldn't? Why are you walking around in broad daylight?
Oh, you think I did all that? Hey, I ran. Just
this is a right off to the right, which you'll see in a couple of places. When we shot this was when there it is off to the right. It was when Popocatépetl, the volcano, the Mexican volcano, was exploding. So in certain shots, at the beginning of this sequence, at the end, and then in the title sequence, there's also a shot of Popo actually erupting. We were sort of in the shadow of this volcano, and there were certain places, certain roads you couldn't drive down. Americans' knowledge of geography is fairly limited, so I figured, what the hell? Who cares? It's a volcano that's about to erupt, but nobody will notice, and it's just great Western scenery. One thing Mexico does very well, besides beautiful natural landscapes, is this kind of suburban ruin that you see in the background. I just love this abandoned gas station and this kind of sitting out there in the middle of nowhere. What's the equivalent of a deserted Western town? Well, we have plenty of it in our modern age. Nobody's riding around on horses and packing six-shooters, but I think the visual effect is similar to that Western look. That certainly is what I was constantly going for. But for the cars and the modern weaponry, this thing could have been happening 100 years ago. Only difference is no horses and generally no hats. There's Popo, right there, way off in the distance. Back to the sensational monastery. I keep thinking Zorro was one of my favorites when I was a little kid, and every time I turn around, I keep thinking Sergeant Garcia is going to poke out from behind one of these columns, and all of these monks that are constantly getting massacred by the vampire. It's very much a Zorro conceit. So now you know all of my secrets as Magnificent Seven meets Guy Williams, I guess. Here we have, this is a good time to jump in and talk about Jon Bon Jovi a little bit. John will hate me for doing this because I'm coming in on his worst moment. Here he is. We had lots of conversations about what makes a good hero for a movie of this sort. And I kept saying, John, all you got to do is stand there. You don't have to do anything. And here John is trying a little harder than he needed to. See him emoting and really putting out. And I kept pulling him back, and I believe it's true. Most film actors learn the secret of doing very little because the camera can get so close and can draw you in, and the slightest facial movement, the slightest flick of the eye or turn of the head turns into a huge, important gesture for the audience. But it took a while for John to realize that he didn't have to act, he didn't have to push it, he didn't have to emote a great deal to be incredibly heroic, just to be there, to make it true, to make it honest in the moment. He was wonderful to work with, well prepared every day. To be a big international star, every time we'd go off the set and go off to dinner or maybe go off to have an evening on the town, you're talking about droves of people coming around and adoring this man and trying to get near him. And but just on the set, just to be around him, it could have been the guy next door. Very level-headed, feet on the ground. Just a joy to work with, as were all of the actors. An ensemble picture is a true test of an actor's ego. How much of this is about them versus how much is it about some other character or the group itself. And it's great to see actors giving and finding ways to support the others in the scene. It's wonderful when an actor has the instincts to save a scene simply by shifting a little to the left. They realize they're in the other actor's light somehow. They've missed their marks and they shift it. And oh my God, we just saved 15 minutes. And these actors were of that quality.
He worked on this in his spare time.
There's Christian de la Fuente from Chile. I should comment on the international nature of this cast. Christian from Chile, Diego Luna, who's about to reappear from Mexico, who is having a wonderful run right now. He's got a picture out. See if I can remember the name of that picture. Y tu mama también. Yeah. He's delightful. Like a 22, 23-year-old kid who has the gift of looking like he's about 14. Every Hollywood actor's dream. Well, Diego's got that. And let's see, a couple of other Mexican actors I'll note when we get to them. And who else? Arlie Jover, who plays the vampire queen from Spain. So quite an international cast. I look forward to the film festivals, horror film festivals in obscure countries in the coming years. The actors, it's a funny thing with actors. Each one seems to need something different. Some actors really need a lot of attention and they need for you to praise them after every take. Other actors do well if you simply just leave them be and let them punch the clock and bring their lunchbox to work and get the job done. Other actors need a little drama, a little give and take, a little arguing, a little tension in order to do what they do. A director has to be many things for the actors: a father figure, a confessor, sort of a priest. Oops, wrong analogy these days. A child, a mother, a shrink, all of the above, plus many other things. I think the main thing that Jon Bon Jovi said to me on the set was, "Thank you for letting me dare to suck," I believe was the quote. He really appreciated that I would let him try things, and what is it? It's an extra 3 minutes and a few feet of film. That's all it is, and then we go on. If it doesn't quite work, we go to another take. But I think that's the director's job, is create a safe place where the actors can do what they do. It's a magical, mysterious process they go through. I can't begin to understand it and don't pretend to. But at the end of the day, what's important is that each of them gets a chance to run their process, whatever it is. If they have to run around the block before they begin, if they have to go into their room and meditate or bang their head against the wall, you sort of help provide them with the means to do what they do. So the team, hey, we just crossed a very important threshold. The team has been assembled. And they are right at the border. They're in Nogales. Actually, that's in the middle of Mexico City, but didn't those guys do a good job of making it seem just like Nogales, Arizona? And there's just one more team member to bring aboard. And so we take care of him pretty quickly. I love that wet street look, and our hard-working crew at night. We worked all night this particular night, and you know, it's really something when, it's one thing when you're watching the sun go down and you're fighting the light, and you know that if you work your way into close-ups, the lighting crew will be able to help you. They'll get out certain lights, and if you pick your backgrounds carefully, you can keep right on shooting after the sun goes down and pretend it's daytime and get away with it. What's much more difficult is when you've been shooting all night, as we were on this occasion, and the sun starts to come up and you're not quite finished and you need it to still be nighttime. Wow, you're outside and the ambient light is starting to come up and the shadows are disappearing and you still need it to be nighttime. Even in close-ups, it's hard to pull that off. But Henner Hoffman, our DP, did just that in this case, and we got away with it. A little lighting effect in the background from the welder to add a little eeriness to the scene. That was important to me for no special reason other than visual style.
No. Lousy part of town to get what you came for.
I love this pacing and this sort of cat and mouse effect. This is the glide camera at work here, commonly called the Steadicam. John first started experimenting with this camera when it came out, John Carpenter, on Halloween, and that is where we learned about how effective a glide camera can be. First of all, for the bad guy's POV. It's just, you can use a handheld if you like, but something about the smoothness of that glide camera, it's just an incredible effect all of its own. And of course it's gone on to gain popularity for everyone as a poor man's dolly. You can save a lot of time and shoot your way out of trouble frequently if your glide man is good. Just by strapping on that thing, because remember, a dolly requires a rehearsed move. It can only go backward and forward or side to side. You can't go both things at once with a dolly. And if an actor misses his mark, you're in trouble. You got to shoot another take because it's all been measured very carefully. Well, a glide camera puts the camera in the hands of one guy with one other guy running along beside him with a little black box to adjust the focus. And if the actors miss their mark, that guy just moves a step. And the focus guy compensates and you keep shooting. So an unmistakably valuable piece of, a valuable tool in the box of the filmmaker. That glide camera, I use it extensively. And have been tempted on occasion to just use it for the whole movie, but it would break the poor cameraman's back. This is my idea of the kind of humor that belongs in a horror movie. Here's a guy chopping off the head of a vampire in a city park, and a crowd of people is gathering around, and they're still having this conversation about, like, did you bring plenty of those bullets along? Are you going to have enough ammo for us to kill all the vampires? And these people are just sort of gathering, and the secondary guys are getting sort of uncomfortable because they're attracting attention, and maybe we better take off and get out of here. Something about that just seems incredibly fun and funny to me. Maybe I have a twisted sense of humor, I don't know. But that's what makes it go for me. So now we've really got the whole group, including my man Diego Luna over there on the left, international star from Mexico. We've got Natasha Gregson Wagner. And we've got Darius McCrary, the new kid, over there who's been dozing. Yeah, wake up, Darius. And the guys up front. The team is complete.
It's always just sick.
Now, fortunately for the team, And as an echo, a kind of a little echo back to the original Vampires, one of the characters is able to kind of have a psychic link into the vampires' world, thereby giving them a little bit of a leg up on what she's doing, what she's up to, what her movements are. I loved that from the first one and found a way to retain it, I hope without just aping it. Slightly different attack on it. Oh, and it was all about the legend, the vampire's dream of being able to go out and walk in daylight. And she tried it, and it didn't work, so somebody's going to have to pay. Cheap trick. I think it works really well. Hope it made you jump the first time you saw it. And this is what makes it go, that the vampire wants to walk in daylight. The big plot of the antagonist that drives her world.
Outside in the daylight?
No.
To me, the key about humor in a horror movie is these guys aren't joking. These guys are serious. There's some serious business going on here. And at this moment, they're all taking it very seriously. But that can't go on 24 hours a day. Otherwise, the characters become boring. They've got to have a little relief here and there, even if it's just an eyebrow going up or a throwaway line or something that happens in the background. You need to relieve that tension every so often.
Concentrate, Zoe.
Okay. Here. I think they're here.
Serena, there's an all-sugar mill nearby built on top of...
There it is, Mexico, upside down. And we're getting... This matches pretty much the shooting pattern, getting sort of sucked in deeper into the country as we go along. At first, it was fairly easy locations around Mexico City, fairly straightforward. And as the plot thickened in front of the camera, so it thickened behind the camera as well. Things got more complicated, things got rougher, people failed to show up now and again, and pretty soon you're looking at some really hairy shooting situations.
A couple more months worth.
I should comment on the Monkmobile. This vehicle that they're all riding around in was unbelievable. We needed a vehicle of some size, and I loved the fact that it was sort of a church bus that had been fostered by one of the characters from the previous movie, and then of course he dies conveniently and he's set aside, but the bus remains so they can get around and have a place to stash their equipment and be safe from time to time. So we had a couple of choices. We had a big ambulance that wasn't quite big enough, and here comes this church bus, which I was deeply attracted to. It's so funky. I just loved it. And the art department drives it up to the production office and shows it to us, and I say, oh, this is going to be perfect. And we walk through it and talk about where the bunks will go, and they're going to outfit it just perfectly, and it's all going to be great. And I say, and what about mechanically? Is she going to be okay? Well, of course, sir, it's going to be fine. Yes, we've had it checked out by a mechanic, and oh my God, the nightmares on a daily basis. Is the Monkmobile going to make it to the set? Oh, the report called in. The Monkmobile's transmission blew out. It won't be here for 3 hours. Can you shoot around it? And when the Monkmobile did show up, well, we can use it where it sits, but we can't drive it. Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to shoot around those 4 or 5 scenes we were going to shoot this afternoon. When can it be ready? Next week. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Wonder what we can shoot until then. So the story of the Monkmobile in many ways is the story of the movie itself. Just an incredible obstacle. Had an old AD who used to look at me on the set when we would have troubles, and he said, boss, I've learned to use the word opportunity when we have a shitstorm here, and so we've got a major opportunity this morning. And there were many, many, many such opportunities on the set of Vampiros Los Muertos. I regret that in this version I'm looking at, I'm not seeing the vampire POV. We went to some considerable trouble in the POV, meaning point of view shots, whenever you see what the vampire is seeing. We did some pretty elaborate psychedelic effects that tried to represent what life looks like through the eyes of a vampire. They were quite interesting, and they went with a soundtrack that helped you understand what it sounds like to hear life as a vampire. Hyper magnified, selective hearing. You can hear certain people breathing, or you can hear their hearts beating. I loved that whole idea. Now she knows what she needs to do. She has to get that drug from the out of the hands of Zoe and into her own hands. I hope that little plot point came through. It's a little obscure. Only you can tell me whether it made sense or not. She has to go through these machinations with this poor guy in order to get him on her team, so he will steal the drug from Zoe. That makes sense? I don't know.
Come on over here and talk to Ray.
There is definitely a kind of a strata of oral sex in this movie, I must say. It seems to be happening all the time. This vampiress, Una, by name, got hold of that gardener, farmhand or whatever he was, gatekeeper up at the front of the movie, and she yanked his tongue out and sort of did an oral number on it, and now here she goes again. You just can't keep a good girl down. She's, oh dear God, what's she doing with this guy? Anyway, we went, I guess, about as far as you can go without turning it into a different kind of movie altogether. Although I would love to have tried. Would have been fun to push it a little farther. And in my personal opinion, this is the correct phrase. What do you call the subtitle for your poster? Boss, you ain't lived till you got head from a vampire. If I was running the show, that would be on the poster. I'm sorry. It's trashy, but it would sell tickets, wouldn't it? I probably should say nothing throughout this scene. But here I am, the mic is open. This was supposed to be a real party scene. This was my Quentin Tarantino homage to Quentin scene. And it should have just been an absurd monster fest involving these guys working out. There was another entire, speaking of oral sex, there was another entire passage where a lady in the back who's playing cards, one of the vampires crawls up underneath the table and gets up under her dress and does what he does to her. But cooler heads prevailed, I suppose, and what we have is a sort of watered-down version that, to me, doesn't quite really work because it's not enough. It's neither fish nor fowl. It really needed to be radically, crazily violent and absurd and sexual in order to be worth having in the movie, with a really tacky thing going on the jukebox. That was the intended vision, and that's not what we have right now. Who knows, though? I'll keep pushing for it.
We'll make it tomorrow morning if we drive straight through.
That's a long way to go if Zoe's wrong.
She's not wrong. Can't you feel it?
I don't feel anything but uneasy.
Fortunately, even though the vehicle seems to be moving, it wasn't. It had long gone past the point of being able to run at this point. Gravity was doing all of this, and this film is cranked at about 3 times normal speed, and it just rolled into that spot. It was not even turned on. So the Monkmobile is, it was a ubiquitous problem on a daily basis. This was shot up in the mountains south of Mexico City, turned out to be a kind of, in Southern California, there's a place called Idlewild, a couple of hours away, where people go up into the mountains and rent cabins, and there are these sort of resort spots. And this was not unlike that, up above Mexico City, a sort of rustic area with lots of little cabins and the like. And the strangest thing, down the road, a filmmaker on a low budget is going to have to constantly consider the efficiency of his show. When I'm looking at the production board, which is made up of a lot of little cardboard strips indicating what scenes are to be shot on what day, and if you change your mind and realize that a particular scene should be shot on a different day for some reason, you just pick that strip up off the board and you stick it in another day. A wonderful tool for production. And in a low-budget situation, it behooves you, once you get all of your trucks, because there's a big caravan that goes with a movie-making group, camera truck and lighting gear and art department trucks galore, and every actor comes with some kind of trailer or dressing room and hair and makeup and wardrobe, and the list is endless, and it's quite a circus when it gets all together, not to mention bathroom facilities for everyone and catering trucks and whatnot. It's an amazing group. Well, you don't want to create a shooting day that's in 3 separate locations that's going to cause you to have to pack that mess up 3 different times during the day. You want to create a shooting situation where once you've parked those things, you don't have to move them too much. And this was a great example of that, where up there in the mountains, I found a place where, pointing in one direction, we could shoot the scene where the chromobile pulled in and they all slept for the night. Pointing the camera in another direction, we created that scene that you saw earlier where Derek was looking for another team member, and he came upon a murder site. And then pointing in yet a third and a fourth direction, there were 2 other things happening. A telephone booth scene that didn't make it into the movie, and then some other scene. A car pullover scene that happened at night. And this kind of thing you really have to stay aware of. Is you may pick a location that is absolutely perfect, but it's not close to anything else. Whereas your second choice, if you chose carefully, it may turn out that right across the street is your second location and right down the street is your third. Well, sometimes it behooves you to go with your second choice so you don't have to move all those trucks again and again.
There. It's there.
And finally, we get to our exotic little vampire lair near a town. This was actually a sugar mill, an abandoned sugar mill, and what a place, what a spooky, wonderful place. I'll point out when we get to the part that was built, and the art department did a marvelous job, but so much of this was just walk up and shoot. It's not like we even had to age it or create any of these archways. They were just sitting there waiting for us to shoot in and to hide vampires behind and do the whole business. If there's one regret I have, it is that we did not have enough money to have a big action unit go in there and do a lot of vampire hunting, a lot of spooky action hunting. I think that would have been an asset for the movie, and we simply couldn't afford that. But this little town, think of Magnificent Seven, and this group of cowboys travels a long way down into old Mexico to come to this little town that's being beset by I guess it was Mapache. I can't remember the name of the villain. Not Eli Wallach. Anyway, this little town captured that for me. It was the essence of the Western part of the movie, was coming to a faraway place that was more of the real Mexico. And we traveled a long way down into Morelos, to find this place south of Mexico City, and spent a couple of weeks there. A couple of From a tourist point of view, they were delightful weeks. From a filmmaker point of view, they were sheer hell. It was very tough to get our job done. And by this point in the picture, you have to understand that many, many crew members, and not just gringo types like myself, but Mexican crew members, are getting sick. We're catching what happens when it's may be that you've avoided the water assiduously and you've done everything you can do and you've eaten very carefully, and still just some little bacteria found its way into your tummy, and all of a sudden you are in serious trouble. Many of these scenes I directed from the chair in a state of abject misery, just sort of bent over, kind of barely hanging on, and actors would very kindly sort of come over to me, and I'd chat with them about their performance, and then I would just sit there and kind of watch this little monitor while they went off and did what they did, and everybody was very nice to me and took care of me for a couple of days while I recovered, and virtually everyone else on the crew went through the same thing. Now we're looking at set work built into this vast, wonderful kind of hallway, open place that was already there. But these exotic statues, the whole idea was to find a place that appears to be ancient ruins, perhaps Mayan or Toltec ruins, that have been partially uncovered. It was like we come in on the middle of an archaeological dig that had been interrupted by this pestilence that hit town. The vampires have come to town, and the professionals started disappearing. This doctor's office has been abandoned, and obviously the archaeological dig was on hold, and all the rest. Wanted a town that had just been caught in a state of its life has been taken from it. I don't know how successfully I conveyed that. What I feel we probably needed were more shots of the sort that appeared at the very end of Halloween, your sort of empty street shots, your atmosphere shots, and shots of people closing shutters and hiding in doorways, in a sense of a place that's been sort of paralyzed by fear. Once again, we're limited. Oh, wow. What a fabulous body Arlie Jover has. Oh my God, Arlie, I love you. This Arlie's incredibly sensuous nature, and at least on film, no presumptions there, Arlie. Sorry. Her way of movement, her dancerly sort of approach, I thought just an exquisite and pretty original approach. Original and yet sort of classic too. I keep thinking of Nosferatu and really old references to vampire movies from the past. Especially, we'll be coming up on a scene, the Isle of Lesbos scene, I'm fond of calling it, when she makes a pass at Natasha's character, and that's truly Nosferatu all over again for me.
Derek.
Anyway, wow, did I ever get distracted by Arlie and her wonderful movement. Whatever I was saying couldn't have been very important. This is where I think we finally get a chance to reveal old Mexico, its charms and its color. What an incredible place. When a film is going and you're in the thick of it, it's very easy to miss where you are because you're so intent on what you're doing and you're in the thick of it. Very, very easy to miss the place you've come to all that way. Now that I look at it on film and see where we were, makes me want to run back there without a film to do and just enjoy it for what it is. Funny, this little town that I felt we had discovered, once we got comfortable there and got to know some of the people, they were very much film veterans, although they didn't have films going through there all the time. They'd had 6 or 7 films over the years, and they knew the score, and they knew the drill, and they knew what they were supposed to do, what was expected of them as townspeople and as extras. It was quite delightful to see people who were living very simple, everyday lives, but who were still completely tuned into our needs and what we were up to. It was that sort of, look, boss, I get it. I know where you're coming from, only done in a very sweet and humble and small-town way. This whole thing, if there's something missing for me here, it was we tried very hard to get Arlie's vampire movement to be a magical thing. When she went from point A to point B, I shot miles of film and tried various optical tricks to get her to kind of speed along. In truth, one of the neatest effects is coming up, and it's nothing more than just a regular old film dissolve. This seems to be as successful as any other thing right there in moving the vampire along in some sort of magical way.
The vampire's gonna want more of the drugs. She won't touch a hair of Zoe's head.
Until she tells her she got it.
So we won't tell.
Hey, Sancho, you're gonna have to face the fact. Zoe might already be dead, or worse.
I don't care. I'm gonna help her.
Well, our team is up against it now. One of their key members, of course, has been captured, which sets the stage for what I think is really the best sexual chemistry in the whole movie, which is between the vampire and Natasha's character. I thought that was just full of heat, and actually there was a great deal of dialogue. Well, let's see. Let me talk about this before I talk about that. This is the Guns of Navarone scene. This is where there is a traitor among us, and David Niven, of course, is wandering around the room talking to the various members of his military espionage group, trying to single out who did it. And I just adore that scene. It's been played out dozens of times in various movies, and so I had to have my chance at it. And I'm really proud of this scene. I think it's one of the most successful in the movie. Very dramatic, well covered, got plenty of chance to shoot it in an incredibly beautiful location, and I think it came out quite nicely.
Real simple man. I came down here to kill suckers and to get paid. Anybody looking to throw down on me is looking to get killed.
What do you say, kid? She get to you? No disgrace. She's a very powerful woman. Could happen to any one of us. Come on, kid, get it off your chest. Admit it, you know you did it. Son of a bitch. Tell me the truth. Come on, admit it. Fuck you. Come on, talk to me. Fuck you. Talk to me. Fuck you! Talk to me!
Ouch. Reveal the bowman, and we have a new member of the team. Goodbye to the old, hello to the new. Another good example of my kind of humor coming to the surface here. How did you know? Heard it in a dream. What if your dream was wrong? Better me than you. That's all funny to me. I like that. Give a good laugh right in the middle of a big dramatic scene.
I guess I screwed up big time, boss. Go and do what you have to. I won't hold it against you. She knows you're here.
Important plot points being revealed here by the dying man. The villain is the client. Oh dear. That puts them in a deep well of shit.
Expose you and the rest of us.
Things couldn't be rougher. Good time for everybody to run away, but oh dear, they got to go rescue Zoe.
You ain't lived till you got a head from a vampire.
Yes, put it on the poster. Be daring. Go ahead. You can do it. Always the temptation here for a horror director. Do I show the gushing blood or do I cut away? I felt at this point that from the get-go that this wasn't the time to show the gushing blood. Now, here's the scene I was starting to talk about before. Some real heat here. And actually the original scene was full of dialogue. These two women talking about all of this stuff, and they're, kind of locking down the plot for all who had not been paying attention up to this point, what the conflict was, this, that, and the other. And my editor, Charles Bornstein, was down there in Mexico with us, cutting along beside us. And just before we shot this scene, he said, "For God's sake, Tommy, do a silent version." And what a brilliant idea. After we did several takes, 3 or 4 takes of the dialogue version, where they were having dialogue all through all of this walking and going back and forth, I asked them to go through it one more time and just internalize the dialogue. And oh my God, I think this is like my favorite silent movies. All of a sudden, for a little while here, this is all played out in looks and expressions. It's like a strange, erotic little dance between these two women. And I just think it's exquisite. It's my favorite moment in the movie. That seems to be what the vampire myth is all about right there, is an erotic pull, seduction, and forbidden fruit. That nails it. That gets it right on the head. A lot of beautiful rooms in this place to work with, everywhere you turn. And in fact, in all of Mexico, it seems like everywhere you turn are centuries of history sitting there for you to put your good guys and your bad guys up against, make them look good. Back there in the background is a construction work for us. We have this ancient environment into which we put this monument and these altars and this extra archaeology. There's our dig. The pit was real. All the rest of the stuff we brought in. That thing right there, that piece of some ancient icon of some sort. All this stuff. I think it blends wonderfully. I'm very, very proud of this. Cheap trick. Make the audience jump. Spill some popcorn. My regret here is that we were unable to extend the cat and mouse games and hunt some more vampires and drag them out into the open and do some real action here. But not enough time, not enough budget. Do the best with what you have. This whole concept of the need for the cable pull, going deeper and deeper into the cave. Lots of missing inserts here.
It's so quiet. You just bet Big Mama's waiting to see if we get tired out.
Unless the drug wore off.
I like that theory.
Hey! Help!
Zoe!
I'm out of cable.
Stay here and cover him. You come with me.
Derek, we shouldn't get separated.
Lag behind just a little bit. Try to keep us all in sight.
Derek!
Derek, talk to me. It's not a good idea we get separated this way. Oh, the remote is not working.
Now, how do we know that? We don't see it. I'll get off of that. It's a pet peeve. Every editor knows how badly you need those inserts. You need the clock ticking. You need the bomb about to go off. Arlie was very funny. She's one of the nicest women you'll ever hope to meet, one of the most graceful. And it was hard for her to be mean. She doesn't have a mean streak in her, a mean bone in her body. And so when it came time to hit people with weapons, I got her upset because I kept saying she was wimpy and she had to really lay into that stuff. And she'd get so upset. She felt like I was coming down on her too hard, but I was actually trying to make her mad so that she would stick it out there. I think she did fine in the end.
The ritual. Did you think just any priest could perform it? I know how it must be done.
This was shot in a tunnel which came to be known as the Tunnel of Hate. Now, I don't know really whether I believe in ghosts or just the power of, I don't know, rat dung spores or something, but this cave, this place, exquisite though it may be on film, was just a hateful place to shoot. You would walk into this place, and I swear, within 20 minutes, everybody in there wanted to strangle everyone else. Your mood changed. It just got awful. Everyone who normally would be kind to each other and be giving each other back rubs would be snarling at each other and snapping in between takes and getting into arguments. And it just came to be known as the Tunnel of Hate, and we were in there for about 3 days.
You know a good deal when you see one.
And I still wonder if there's some sort of ghost of some murdered poor unfortunate in there floating around, inhabiting people's bodies, or whether it's just rat spores that get into your brain and cause you to be crazy. It was very real, though. Something was going on in there. It was during this passage that we lost Natasha for a time due to an illness. And there will be countless shots where we're working with a double, this one in particular, a very good double, too. Natasha is a very petite young woman, and we thought that's a double. We thought in the beginning that this would be insurmountable, but then this young woman came into our lives who doubled for Natasha while she was ill, and remarkably, much of the rest of the movie, much of the action that's coming up, was shot with the double. I'll point out a shot or two, but you'll see that it's pretty seamless. I don't think you can tell when it's the double and when it's not.
Hey, there has to be another way.
I'm warning, we're not going to recognize her. The self-control it's taken her to hold back this long. I'm sorry.
¿Pero qué pasa? ¿Qué hace? ¿Qué hace? Salga.
¿Qué? What the hell is she doing?
She said for you to get lost.
Lo que voy a hacer tal vez no funcione, pero lo voy a intentar.
¿Qué es lo que vas a...
Now, do you think there should be subtitles here? I did, but there aren't any. Perhaps it doesn't matter.
Take care of the donors.
Donors?
Venga. Tres. Pues usted es la primera que me va a ayudar. Quédese aquí paradita. Usted siéntese. Muévanse.
And the infected blood comes into the fore, plays a huge part in this part of the story. I thought this was quite successful. The waiting in the night, it's another one of my favorite themes, and especially in a Western where the team has encountered the enemy and they have gotten the shit beat out of them in one form or another, and they're weakened and they are hurting and they've got to regroup. Clint Eastwood has to go and patch his broken hand together and teach himself to shoot in a different way than before. Whatever the specifics of it are, the theme is the same. Time to regroup, time to buck up and figure out, draw that extra ounce of courage, time to say goodbye in some cases, time to make plans for after I'm dead. Those sorts of things happen at this point in the story, just before the big action finish. I wonder if this makes any sense to anyone. He needs to get that that winch onto a smaller vehicle to get closer to the action. It's in there, but not very thoroughly articulated. Now Derek's getting an idea. If he's got that tainted blood in him, will the vampire recognize his heartbeat? Maybe he can slip in and get a shot at her. Maybe I should have this narration running over the actual movie to work out all the parts that the audience doesn't get.
You're back.
Halfway back. About like where I was when we first met.
I'll take that. But as soon as you can move, I want you to get the hell back to Mexico City.
No, Derek. You're down to it. You need me.
Look, if Rodrigo's got any chance at all, I'm gonna have to infiltrate the ceremony. Maybe I'll get a shot off before she tortures her.
She'd hear your heartbeat.
Yeah, well, what if I'm infected? It would slow my heartbeat down and I can mix in with the rest
Don't even think about it.
I need a front row seat. Lupe, you got another patient. Only this time we're going in reverse.
Right, and they're down to 3. My favorite. Odds are bad, and these guys aren't ready for this. They don't have the requisite skills. And what do? Do they cut and run? Hell no. They go in there and try. I love it. It's the story of life. John loved that effect. He wore those things all day long. He thought it was so cool. Poor Arlie had to wear those contact lenses day after day after day. She was a great sport about it. After a while, they began to irritate her eyes. And it just got to be a terrible imposition to make her put them in and keep them. In truth, it was a horrible part for her to have to play. She had to be buried constantly and put in the ground. Little breathe through a straw. Okay, hang on. Breathe through this straw. We're about to roll. Poor girl is sitting under the ground, covered up. It was a really rough part, and she was just a trooper about it. She never complained. She was right there. Hats off to Arlie.
Go far away from here.
This is one of my favorite things, is the picture matches the story. These 3 people are crowded into this little frame. They're our last hope. They're the team, all that's left of the team at the moment. And so it was, in truth, it was a way I had a setup already, a close-up of John, and without moving a lot of lights and camera, I needed to get another shot in. sort of squeeze another shot in really quickly. We were running out of time. And so I just asked the other actors to cram themselves into the same frame. But again, necessity is the mother of invention. I felt like in the end it really matched the story. It supported the story. It was appropriate. And frequently that can be the case, where you make use of what you've got in front of you and it turns out to make a good contribution to the drama you're trying to pull off. It's a good time to comment on the music. Brian Tyler, friend of mine, and we've worked together before. I thought he did a smashing job with the music. It was no easy assignment. I wanted him to use kind of a limited palette of instruments for the most part. I told him he could bring in the orchestra when he felt he needed to on a grand scale. Here at the climax is a good example of the grand scale, when he really pulls out all the stops. But if you go back through the movie, for the most part, it's sparser than that. It's a limited selection of instruments. It's a Spanish guitar, and it's an electric guitar. I wanted in the beginning to reflect the music of the first movie without aping it, which was a much more kind of heavy guitar approach, big chunky power chords going down with a big drum beat, and I wanted to allude to that in the beginning without copying it, and I thought he made that transition beautifully. He took guitars and he took a very sexy little riff and married those elements together. It sounded very Spanish to me, very Mexican, a hint of the folksiness of the surroundings. And after all, the movie was designed to be a movement south and a movement from the border country and a sort of fairly well organized modern society into a little more chaotic surroundings where anything could happen, a sort of Western frontier effect where we've moved from order to a little more chaos and a little more fantasy, and we've twisted down into a world that only exists in our story. We've moved closer and closer to a sort of fantastic place that your imagination can take hold and you can believe. Or you can suspend disbelief, if you will.
You have failed to help yourself.
There, they all went away. He shot them and they all went away.
Hey, Derek, let's go.
Fall back. Go. Be ready.
And we spent hours talking about that moment. Be ready. Can the vampire hear him? Well, the rules are slippery in a vampire movie. The vampire's all-knowing, all-hearing, all-seeing, but the actors really had a hard time with me pretending in that moment that maybe the vampire couldn't hear him say, be ready. You find yourself suddenly on the set having never considered something that might be perfectly obvious to an actor, that, hey, I can't say this because if I say it out loud, the vampire will hear it. Then the plot doesn't make any sense, and you scratch your head and go, my God, I don't think that's going to be a problem if in the flow of the story. But your job isn't just to make the movie and make the flow of the story work. You have to convince the actor of the truth of it. And I bet we spent 45 minutes discussing that moment.
Just want to talk to you.
Jon, bless his heart, in the end did it on faith, and I think it works just fine. But every time I see it, I think of it as a symbol of the kinds of things that actors can get into, because they're carrying the ball in that moment. If it isn't true for them, if it isn't true for their character, then there's always the possibility that it won't work for anyone else. That's their fear, and it's a very real thing. It's something that must be respected. On the other hand, a filmmaker can get impatient and just say the damn line. Come on, the audience will believe it. I'll make them believe it. And that is one of the conundrums that you get into in your daily, your workaday world between actors and directors. Oh, don't let her grab that column there. Oh, you almost had her, you fools. Now she's gonna outfox you some way. And that's kind of my favorite. This is really back to damsels in distress and railroad trains rushing down the track toward people who are tied up. It's, is she gonna make it? Is the cable gonna break? What happened to her? Oh no, she skittered away. Where's that sound effect? Oops, somebody forgot to put that in.
If anybody wants to make a run for it, this would be a good time.
The team. This team will not go away. I love them. I want to be them.
Is there anything else I need to know?
Told you my secrets would only help.
Cowboys and girls.
Good, brother. I need a straight shot with this thing. Zoe, any way you can get it up on the roof?
I'll see what I can do.
She's cool. She's Lauren Bacall. Doesn't get ruffled. In this case, it's mostly her double, but the audience, first time through, shouldn't know that. You get to know it because you went to the trouble to listen to this commentary. Well, yes, that was Natasha. Of course it was. It was a close-up.
Hey, vampire. I know you can hear me because I can hear you. I can smell you.
Although movies are frequently shot out of continuity, in general, a director and producers will try very hard to make the thing generally have a beginning and a middle and an end. If you shoot too much in a turned around fashion, your actors don't know what they're doing and they don't have any flow in their characters. So whenever possible, you sort of try to do the first third of the movie in a big chunk and the middle of the movie in another big chunk and the end of the movie in another. This was, we were getting right down to the last day or two of shooting, and oh my, everybody was tired of being down in the pit and being in the tunnel of hate, and in general being in this place at all. We were all shot weary and tired.
Get your back up against something solid. Heads up, she'll be coming after one of us.
Yeah, we built that little set later. Natasha was able to return and put the rope down the chute. That was on the back lot. If you notice, the only true background is blue sky. And that's how we get away with those kinds of tricks.
Don't count on it. Now!
Inserts, lots of detail shots to sell a scene like this. To me, that really is what makes a scene work or not work, is little sword falling over, little knots in the rope, little feet running here and there. Did we get away with it? Do we need more? Only you can tell me after you've watched it once. Yeah, throwing the gun, the obligatory throwing of the shotgun. I love it. It's right out of Rio Bravo. Yep, he's okay. And he looks a little like Harrison Ford, too. Endings are tough. How do you end your movie? It could have been when he came out of the hole. We tried that. That might have been a good place to fade out. This scene was in and out of the movie several times. I sort of cringe at the cheesy heart effect. Don't know whether that should be in there or not. But it kind of needed an exclamation point of some kind, so we held our breath and took a chance and left it in. And of course the denouement. Everybody's got to tie up their loose ends and say their goodbyes.
How much time do you think we have?
This kind of scene has fallen out of favor in modern movie making. I still am a believer if you invest 2 hours or so or even an hour and a half in a story and you care about the characters, I honestly believe most audiences want to say goodbye. They want to savor it a little if they've had an enjoyable experience. If you're sorry you spent your money, then get it over with and get up out of your seat. And that's probably a good reason why it disappears if the filmmakers feel they've just got to get it out quick. But I think if you've gone this far with a set of characters and you're counting on the audience to like them, you need a chance to say goodbye. Especially this one. This is your equivalent of don't take drugs, stay in school. Our positive message to the audience, get back home, kid. It's interesting to note that this is a similar ending to El Diablo, in which John Carpenter's idea prevailed, which was the exact opposite. The kid at the end of El Diablo does not go back home and teach school again. He rides down the road with the renegade cowboy and goes off to become a wild man. But this time I got to have my version, which was back home. You're not quite ready to grow up yet. Get a little more, take care of your mom a little bit longer. Be a decent human being. I guess it's very corny at heart, but we take for granted these messages are just hanging around out there for everyone, so that filmmakers tend to think they can fly in the face of them. But this is a whole new generation of film watchers, and I think the old-fashioned messages, it's almost like you need to lay the groundwork with those messages before you can give the anti-message. And I wanted to leave a question mark in the air. There are John's weird eyes again. That was intentional. We don't know what the fate of these guys is going to be. It should be a question mark. We should leave them hanging. I believe that's fun and appropriate. Oh, and they drive off into the sunset. My God, it was a Western, wasn't it? When you get people just flaying the skin off their backs on a daily basis, and you see their names go by, it's just overwhelming. This is the kind of emotions and memories you have of all the good and the bad kind of coming at you at once. Incredible bits of work and time spent and devotion from all corners, and at the same time just disaster after disaster until you wonder how on earth did we finally piece it together and get a movie out of it. this didn't show up, that thing fell over, this blew up, that flattened out, this is the wrong color, that blew up, this blew up. There were lots of that. It's no different from any other movie. In the beginning, a wiser man than I once said something like, in the beginning, you want to go out and make the greatest movie that's ever been made. And in the end, all you do is hope you can get across the finish line. To anyone contemplating getting into this business, I say, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? You really have to love it. You have to be devoted to it. All that money and glamour and that sort of thing, it doesn't work like that. That big paycheck may have to last you 3 years. So beware. But if you love it, and if you're contemplating getting into it, nothing I can say will be able to stop you. Good luck. Thanks for watching my movies. Thanks for watching everybody's movies. We need you, you fans. And God bless.